Hello and welcome to the second day of chapter 3. Today we're going to just learn a little bit more about our sinusoidal functions. So uh, can you look at the worksheet that starts Exploration 3.2b, Sinusoidal Equations from Graphs. So the first thing they want you to do is to draw this graph. So you want to sketch 2 cycles of this sinusoid. So pause the video and do your best drawing of this. All right. Now, hopefully you've done this, and the first thing I want to look at is this 3, which is the sinusoidal axis. So at -3, I'm going to go to -3, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line. This 5 is the amplitude. So from this sinusoidal axis, which is the middle of my graph, I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm also going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this 4 tells us that it's a horizontal shrink by a factor of 4. So it usually does a full cycle in 360 degrees. So now the cycle will last 360 divided by 4, or 90 degrees. And that 20 says we're going to move it to the right 20 degrees. So let's start off to the right 20 degrees. And then we'll do 90 from that. So if that's 20, that should be about 40, 60, 80, 100. So 100's there, so 110 should be somewhere around here. We don't have to be exactly correct, but as long as it's a reasonable scale. Now sine is going to start in the middle, and it's going to end in the middle. And then it's going to go up, down, and back to that. So halfway through it's going to cross in the middle. A quarter of the way it'll be on the top, 3/4 of the way it'll be on the bottom. And this tells us to do 2 cycles, so if we add 90 more, so take this distance, bring it over, that would be at 200, and there it's going to end in the middle, so we can draw our quarter, half, and 3/4 distances. So now we can have this, and it's going to go up, come down, hopefully your graph looks exactly like this graph, or close enough. All right, now try to find the particular equation for this sinusoid using cosine. So pause the video, do the best you can to find the equation. Hopefully you have paused the video and have an equation written. This goes from 10 to 100. So to find the middle between those, you take 10 plus 100, which is 110, divided by 2, and we get 55. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 55 should be right smack dab in the middle. Cosine starts at the top, so I'll start over there. And it does half a rotation from -3 to 12, which is 15. So it will do a full rotation, 15 plus 15, which is 30. So the period is equal to 30. All right, so let's start writing the equation. The sinusoidal axis is at 55. We go up 45 and down 45 from that. So 45 is going to be our amplitude times the cosine of the horizontal shrink. Well, it went from 360 to 30. So if I want to find out what I shrink this by, I would divide it, and it looks like 12. So it's shrunk by a factor of 12, and I have moved it to the right, so it'll be plus 3. Now, number 3 in your sheet says, let's write this equation using sine. So if I want to use this using sine, sine starts in the middle and goes up. So this would be a great spot for that. One problem with this is we'll have to use decimals, because this point is exactly in between 12 and 15 to the right of 12, which is 27. So if I find the middle of these two numbers, I add them up and divide by 2. So that would be 39. 39 divided by 2 would be 19.5 is this point. So 19.5 is how far I move it to the right. Now everything else will remain the same. Y equals 55, because my sinusoidal axis stays the same. The amplitude is the same. Now if I change it to sine, the horizontal dilation is the same. Now I'm just moving it to the right, 19.5. So any cosine can be written as a sine. It's just a horizontal translation. That's the difference. All right, now plot these into your calculator. Pause the video and make sure that they're the same graph, and it should be the same as your original. All right, for number 5, they give you a half of a cycle, and they want you to find the equation. So the first thing I would do is finish a full cycle, and then find the equation. So take a minute, pause the video, and see what you come up with. All right, hopefully you have a nice equation. This goes 200 for half the equation, so the other half would have to start here and come down like this. It's not exactly symmetric, but it'll do for the problem. So it goes from 200 to 600. Our sinusoidal axis is between -3 and 4, which is going to be at 0.5, because 4 plus -3 is 1. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. We're going to go up to 4, so that's 3.5 up and 3.5 down. So I can start my equation. Y equals 0.5 plus 3.5. Cosine would probably be easier because we have a starting point at the top. Now the period here is 400. So to find out what we shrink by, well, we don't actually shrink. We stretch this out because we went from 360 degrees, which cosine is normally, to 400. So this is going to be stretched out just a little bit. So what we normally do is we take 360 divided by our period. That's 36 over 40, which is 18 over 20, which is 9 over 10. And 9 over 10 is 0.9. So this is the cosine of 0.9. And now it starts 200 to the right. So I can say theta minus 200. Try this one. First draw out the graph, and then try to figure out what the equation would be. This is 1/4 of a cycle. All right. If I finished off this graph, it would look something like this. It does one cycle in 48 degrees. So y equals the center, or the sinusoidal axis, is at 60. So y equals 60 plus, it looks like we're going down 40 and up 40. So the amplitude is 40. Let's use cosine. Now to figure out the horizontal dilation, it's usually 360. And if I divide that by 48, 360 divided by 48, it doesn't come out evenly, but it comes out to 7.5. So we shrink it by a factor of 7.5. And this isn't moved to the right or to the left because the cosine starts at the top. So it's just 7.5 theta. All right, that's enough to get to your homework. So here's your homework for tonight. Good luck.